Hey guys, so I wanted to get to this a little bit earlier than I did, but last night the translations came in extremely late and it was already, near 5 in the morning and there was nothing, there was very kind of scuffed translation. So I wanted to wait until we had something more close to official because, usually you want to wait for global because it's the same time celebration, but they don't do it. So Goresh came through, grateful for the homie Goresh, obviously. And we're going to be looking at ZAMASU and TRUNKS' EZA breakdown. We're not going to worry about the sub-EZAs in this video. I feel like we're mostly here for ZAMASU and TRUNKS, so let's go ahead and look at ZAMASU first. From the verdict, like I said, because this is, nearly, 12 hours later at this point, I do understand that they did a very good job with ZAMASU. So let's go ahead and check it out. So his leader skill went up to 170 across the board from the stats, and then super class or extreme class rather being 120, he is now 130 the stats. So looking at his new super attack, we have raises defense. So if you guys aren't aware, usually when a unit is a stacker, it means there is not a turn restriction within their super attack effect, right? So like a way for you guys to easily understand if a unit is a stacker or not is to say if it's greatly raises defense for 1 turn, that means they're not a stacker. But in this case with ZAMASU, you guys can see it just says raises defense. So there's not for 1 turn, for 3 turns, for 7 turns, whatever it may be. It is just raises defense. So that means when we go into base, however many super attacks we're going to do when we transform into Merge ZAMASU, we are going to be getting as many raises to the defense as we did per super. So raises defense, causes immense damage to the enemy, and greatly lowers defense. So that is good. Again, raises defense, just becoming a defensive stacker is huge, because you guys remember last year with Cooler, he became a defensive stacker, and that's all we really needed for everybody to be super excited about it, right? So looking at his passive, we have Indignation, attack and defense plus 140%, key plus 2 for extreme class allies, always good, reduces damage received by 40% in base, recovers 10% HP at the start of turn, and recovers 20% HP at the end of turn. So this guy's healing, he has damage reduction, he heals twice in the turn, perform Patara Fusion when conditions are met. So this is a very simple passive, but it's super effective because not literally. He reduces damage received by 40% and stacks defense. So, this guy already having damage reduction is huge, right? So it's like you think about some of these, red zone bosses that are hitting for 1 million on super now, we can reduce that down. And if the team has 800k HP, he could potentially just survive that super based on the damage reduction. If it's in especially if he's in slot 2 or if he's in slot 1 and does his supers first, there's a chance he could just survive that, considering he's going to be recovering HP at the start of the turn. And if you have 2 of these on the team for some reason, you're going to be recovering 20% HP at the start of the turn and stuff like that. And it's just going to be super efficient, right? So this guy in base, you're only going to see him in base for 1 turn though. So it's not the end of the world. So it's you see this guy for the first time in turn 1, you get him out in Fusion ZAMASU turn 3 and stuff like that, and you're ready to go, right? So when we look at his super attack effect as Fusion ZAMASU, he becomes an attack and a defensive stacker. So raises attack and defense, causes immense damage to enemy, and greatly lowers defense. So he basically just is the same thing. His super attack is the same thing, except that it raises his attack. So his damage is going to be going up even more in addition to his defense. So his passive, Power of Light, key plus 2, and attack defense plus 150%. Still giving key plus 2 to extreme class allies, so that doesn't change when he transforms, not like the way Cooler is. His damage reduction goes up to 50% in addition to his defensive stacking. Gain an additional attack plus 50% when performing a super attack. That's good because he's raising his attack on super every time. Perform an additional super attack during the turn where this character receives an attack, so you could potentially put him in slot 1, he'll look real nice there. Recovers 10% HP when HP is 90% or less, that's not hard, and recovers 10% HP at the end of turn every time this character receives 5 or more hits during battle. Okay, that's kind of annoying. That's not great. So Fusion ZAMASU looks super good, and this is this form right here in the middle. This is the one that you're going to be seeing a lot, right? Because this is where you have the most damage reduction, the best super attack effect. Just looking, I can just kind of quickly see it here as I'm talking. Best super attack effect and stuff like that. So this is going to be where you want to keep this guy, right? In his middle form where he's getting healing, he's getting defensive, or he's getting damage reduction, he's raising attack and defense on super, he's giving support, getting additional attack on the super attack, but like I said, the recovering 10% HP at the start of turn. I mean, getting 5 hits is not that hard, but getting hit 5 times in 1 turn is never ideal, right? You're never really looking for units to do that, right? Especially in these really hard-hitting stages where it's you know, if it's like this, it's not like this Zamasu has like 90% damage reduction, and you know, turn 3 he's just going to be able to straight up face tank like a first form cell super or something like that, right? That's just not going to work. So, you know, it's not bad, but like, you know, getting 5 or more hits is not exactly just like free every single time, right? So let's look. Goresh decided he had to put his humor on this one. When he transforms, his name is still Fusion Zamasu post-transformation because he has the same name. So let's go ahead and look at the super attack effect here. We have massively raises attack for 1 turn and causes immense damage to the enemy and massively lowers defense. So based on the fact that he doesn't raise his defense on super, my best guess would be that you want to use this guy as like a finishing blow in like a last phase, right? Like, you know, it's going to be the last time you see him. That's when you transform, because you've had time to stack and stuff like that. But like, you're not going to just like want to fuse right into this guy, because you're losing out on some damage reduction. You're losing out on the ability to raise your defense on super. It's just, it's not ideal, right? So looking at his passive, Eternally Untainted World, excuse me, Ki +6, attack and defense, or attack plus 300% and defense plus 100%. So he's going to be hitting super hard, and he still does have damage reduction by 30%. Gain additional attack plus 50% and a high chance to perform a crit when performing a super attack. Perform an additional super attack every time his character performs 2 or more attacks in the battle. That's easy. Gain an additional defense plus 50% when performing a super attack for 3 turns in the first appearance. Disables enemies' guards, superclass and allies and enemy attack minus 10%. So again, you're going to be wanting to run this guy on like a Zamasu led team anyway. Goku Black, Zamasu, the new LMR Zamasu and stuff like that. That's where you're going to be wanting to run this guy. So that's not really going to be that much of a problem to me, because it's like you're not really going to be running this guy next to Vegito, right? But the thing with this one, it's kind of like the domain, right? It's like you don't have to go into it. You don't have to transform, right? But like, if it's the finishing blow to win in the last phase, let's say you're going up against Sin Shenron, you're going up against Red Zone Goku Black, you know that this is going to be the last time you see this Zamasu, then I don't really see it being too much of a problem, right? And attack minus 10%, it's a detriment, but it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh my god, I absolutely can't do that, right? It's not like they're taking more damage, their attack's getting cut in half. Like 10% is really not the end of the world. So I think they did a really good job with the Zamasu. Like I said, I think this is exactly what the LR merge Zamasu needed, right? Excuse me. The idea, like, you know, we go on and on about the name thing, but like, you know, if worst case scenario, this guy did get a linking partner, right? Like with this Zamasu, like he is exactly what we are looking for in terms of like a buff. This EZA, they did a really good job on. So Trunks' details, I'm not fully sure on yet, because everyone was just crazy talking on Twitter last night about Zamasu. So I kind of knew what he was about, but let's go ahead and look at Trunks. So resilient will to protect the future, Trunks Team Future. So his leader skill is going to be the same thing as Zamasu's with the stats, but it's Future Saga and Super Class instead of Realm of Gods and Extreme Class. So let's see. We have Super Attack. His Super Attack for Trunks is raises attack and greatly raises defense for 3 turns and causes immense damage. So you'll have that great defensive raise into the transformation, so that is good. Passive here, we have attack and defense plus 140% at the start of turn. We have superclass allies, Ki +2, so he's very similar to what Zamasu does. Perform an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack, chance to perform a critical hit plus 30% during the turn when attacking, and then transform when you go to the next turn. So nothing too crazy there, no damage reduction, you know, not as good as what we saw with Zamasu. That's just going to be the case, right? Going to Super Saiyan Trunks, where you're going to be using him the most. We have greatly raises attack and defense stacking, so that is good, and causes immense damage to the enemy. So this guy is going to be able to build up decently. It just depends on how the numbers will look in game. So passive, EZA. For the future, I don't know why I said EZA. For the future, we must protect. Attack and defense plus 150%. Superclass allies, Ki +2. Ki +1. A lot of keep here. Plus an additional attack and defense plus 25% at the start of turn. Ki up to 4 and attack and defense up to 100%. Not bad. Perform an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack. Perform an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack once 4 turns have elapsed from first appearance. And chance to perform a critical hit plus 30% during the turn when attacking. So just looking at this right away, this is nowhere near as good as Zamasu, but it's like, I don't want to say he's terrible, but again, we have to see the numbers and how quickly he can build up, right? Because like, I mean, if this unit's getting up to 800, 900k defense, there will absolutely be a spot for him somewhere. Like that's, you have the, like you're taking normals with 900k defense. It's just supers can be a little bit suspect, right? But we go on to the Sword of Hope mode. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. Okay, so he massively raises his attack for 1 turn and causes immense damage to the enemy and massively lowers defense. So that's not bad. Again, I think similar to what we saw with merge ZAMASU, this is probably going to be one that you want to like use like right when you know the fight's going to be over after you do it, because you don't want to like stay in this, right? So our will to survive, attack plus 40% and defense per key sphere obtained. That's good. He changes orbs himself. He has a guaranteed crit. Super class allies key plus 3, so he still gets the support and gain additional attack plus 50% when collecting four more key spheres. That's easy. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to attack key spheres. So maybe you see the board is like all int key spheres or like a lot, mostly that. You transform, you make them all tech, you're ready to go, boom, bam, bop, the whole world works, right? So I can't imagine that this unit is any like obviously it's not better than ZAMASU, right? Like that should go without saying. But I could see him finding a spot. Like the thing is like the Future Saga is full of like slot 1 units right now in terms of like the superclass side of things. It's like you think about Trunks of Vegeta, you think about Vegito and stuff like that, and like all of like your main units are slot 1 units. So this guy could be like a nice fit in for slot 2 just because of like the stacks that he needs and stuff like that. So I can see that working out pretty well. And then ZAMASU is just super well done. So let me know what you guys think down below of Trunks and ZAMASU. I think they did a really good job. These EZAs are super exciting. And it's always nice when they nail the EZAs that people were anticipating. So ZAMASU absolutely is ready to go. So like I said, let me know what you guys think of the EZAs down below. Leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.